8 p.m. on Radio Al Ansar. For real talk, where your voice matters. It's your space, your story, your platform.
Wear it for Allah. If you wanna look amazing, lady, you know what you gotta do right now. Cover up your beauty for the Almighty. You do all this for your deen, yeah. Sacrifice is only temporary. You know what you gotta do right now. Your hijab is your crown, we all see, and you wear it to serve Ilahi. Hijab, bigger hijab, bigger hijab. Bigger, you wear it for Allah. Hijab, bigger hijab, bigger hijab. Bigger, you wear it for Allah. She's independent, this hijab is on deen. She knows what she wants, she is a queen. She don't follow trends in magazines. Quran and Sunnah is a daily routine. If you wanna look amazing, lady, you know what you gotta do right now. Cover up your beauty for the Almighty. You do all this for your deen, yeah. Sacrifice is only temporary. You know what you gotta do right now. Your hijab is your crown, we all see, and you wear it to serve Ilahi. Hijab, bigger hijab, bigger hijab. Bigger, you wear it for Allah. Hijab, bigger hijab, bigger hijab. Bigger, you wear it for Allah. H-I-J-A-B, she wears it, she's a queen. She wears it for her deen. It's a H-I-J-A-B, sophisticated girl. She's just like a pearl. She covers up her beauty for the one who made this world. If you wanna look amazing, lady, you know what you gotta do.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, South Africa and Durban, and welcome to Youth Frequency on Al Ansar Radio 90.4 FM in Durban and 105.6 FM in Pietermaritzburg. Well, I'm Smear Khan. In-house, we have a full house. We have Jamie. Liam's gone. He ditched us. He's gone for a holiday at the Berg, Drakensberg. Ideal weather. We have Marlon. We have Luvan. And we have some kids too. Yeah, it's Freedom Day very soon, and we will be celebrating our country and our nation. You know, as we reflect on Freedom Day, we're reminded of the long journey our country has taken from struggle and sacrifice, and opportunity. But freedom is not just something we celebrate once a year. It's something we live, shape, and protect every single day. And that brings us to tonight's topic, freedom and responsibility, the role of youth in today's South Africa. Young people make us a significant part of our population. You are not just the leaders of tomorrow, you are the voices of today. From classrooms to communities, from social media to entrepreneurship, the youth are actively shaping the future of this country. But with freedom comes responsibility to make informed choices, responsibility to uplift others, responsibility to stand for the truth, justice, and unity. So tonight we ask, what does freedom truly means for you, young South Africans today? Are we using our freedom wisely? And how can young people rise above challenges like, we discuss this all the time on Youth Frequency, unemployment, inequality, and social pressure to become agents of change. So to help us unpack this, we're joined in studio with Jamie and Luvan and Michelle and everybody else. Welcome to Youth Frequency.
Hi guys, as always, so happy to be here. Looking forward to the topic tonight.
Hi everyone.
Mommy Bear's in the house.
Hi, Luvan,
Zach.
yeah.
Hi Luvan, we finally got you in studio. Yeah, you're so busy. You're so busy doing therapy there. Normally you're sending us all your voice notes, but really appreciate it, especially with this weather and a few potholes. Sorry, I would say maybe mountains.
Ooh.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Well, we have video which you can listen to. I'll watch it, but you guys can listen to it.
That there is no easy road to freedom. We know it well, that none of us acting alone can achieve success. We must therefore act together as a united people for national reconciliation, for nation building, for the birth of a new world. Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. Let there be work, bread, water, and salt for all. Let each know that for each, the body, the mind, and the soul have been freed to fulfill themselves. Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another.
Wow. Takes you back in time. That was our former President Nelson Mandela, one of our leaders. A legacy which he has left behind. But as we just mentioned, are we really living the legacy, South Africans? There's everything what he wanted. I don't know whether we achieved it as South Africans. Jamie, what do you think? You know, it's dismal, like the unemployment, and there's still no equality.
Mm-hmm.
There's still, everything is still not democratic.
Yes.
It's the struggle still continues.
Yes. I think it's worth acknowledging, though, how far we have come. And I think from there, getting some sort of motivation to also continue to push forward. We were talking before the show, and I mentioned, like, especially with the youth, you know, we learn history in schools, but I don't think any of us can actually fathom yes, it is a basic human right, but with the history of the country, it is such a blessing to have freedom, to be able to express, to be able to do, again, basic things. I think we also have to take into account what's happening in the rest of the world, and how, even though, yes, there will always be things that us as a country are needing to sort out, I think if you look at the role that our country is playing with regards to oppression happening in other parts of the world, I think that also speaks for a lot of hope. So I don't think it's as bad as it was, and I think that's worth acknowledging.
You know, municipal elections is coming up soon. I hope all the councillors and the leaders, whoever is taking on leadership, fulfill the promises. Luvan, what does freedom personally means to you as a young South African? Freedom.
Well, freedom, obviously that comes with a lot of decisions that you need to make. You have a wealth of decisions that are available to you that weren't previously available to maybe even your parents. If we look back to apartheid, it wasn't even that long ago, and a lot of our parents may have spent their childhood or even, you know, their young adult years growing up in apartheid. So we are a new generation. We don't have the system working against us. The system is now trying to work for us. And we have this wealth of decisions to make for ourselves to try and improve ourselves, improve our family, our standings, improve the environment, community. And this freedom, what does it mean to me? To me, it means it's an opportunity for a brighter future. For me, for my family, for my future kids.
Well, you know, we all just got to pray, make dua, and hope for the best, the very, very best. Michelle, you know, do you think today's youth fully understand the sacrifices made for our freedom?
Absolutely not. I mean, I remember, and we were quite little when that was happening, you know. There were certain beaches that we could only go on.
Addington.
You know,
that's VIP.
And that was we weren't allowed to just go anywhere that we wanted.
So let me,
to.
I just have to make this joke, right? You're in the pool in Addington. And when the police came, so tell me, you passed as a white? You were left to be there?
Not really. We were classed as Cape Coloured.
No, but normally I know my parents used to do this. Like, I'm more yellow. My sister is very pink and curly hair. So when we used to be there, they'll be watching us from a distance, and they'll say, when the police comes, act like you're lost. Right. But they're watching us, so we're getting to enjoy the water. And they leave my sister, and then they look at me. Oi, Macy.
Yeah.
You know,
and we were innocent though, because for us it was just life, you know, and it's only really when freedom came and the country stood still to absorb what was actually happening did we realize that, you know what, how life was actually not how it was supposed to be. And then changes started, you know, being made. So yeah, it wasn't
Do you
easy.
know, if you are listening right now and you are one of the youth, and don't really know, I know if there were interracial relationships, people were actually murdered and killed. People hid. People actually hid. Right here, if you look at central Durban town, when we had a lot of our leaders who fought for equality and everything good, they should have secret meetings.
Yes.
And so many of them led to their own demise. When I mean, they sacrificed so much for the country, and their families, marriages broke. They lost their jobs because they spent all their time in secrecy trying to have these meetings and changes. And then you had the police chasing you. And when you study, and I always say, young South Africans need to know what people went through, and especially in today's time, being an educator, and maybe you can relate to me because you're involved with the youth, that every stupid thing becomes, no, you're racist, no, you're racist. But only if they realize what our leaders have fought for.
Exactly.
And you had a colored, you had a white, and you had a black Indian working together for change. So many of them spent decades in Robben Island. But today, with all this freedom, sometimes we are too free to disrespect everybody else. When you think about it.
I hear a lot of the youth making jokes. They don't know what being racist actually means, but they'll say, "Oh, you're racist. You're racist." And I say, just stop. Do you know what that actually means? They don't, and they just use the word loosely, but we know what we had to go through in order for life to get better for us. So
exactly. And that's why it's so important, instead of being on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and every other social media, Facebook, whatever, go in and just research some findings from the archives. What really happened in South Africa? Because, I chatted to somebody who had full A's 2 years ago. They never even knew who was Hector Peterson. And yes, our tech is saying that's crazy, Zach. Absolutely crazy. And the person was actually studying, what was it, accounting or something. And so I said, let me, friends of mine who teach in high schools around Durban, and I said, you know what, do me a favor, just ask like general knowledge questions to your kids, your learners. And you know how many of them said, like 7 out of 10 never knew nothing about South African history. All they know, this is all they know. These are my views and opinions, disclaimer, whatever. All they know is that the white man had everything, had all the beautiful things, and they suffered and suffered and suffered. So they don't even know how
everything,
And then on the reverse side, you have a non-black race saying, example, whether it's a colored or Indian or white, the black people were cruel, they were monsters, they were killing us, we had to stay away from them, and they were like animal. But these are like things passed down from generation.
Exactly. It's not even the truth.
So that's what I'm saying. Go and educate yourself. Go and educate yourself to know what's really going on. Because people, and now when you look at the history textbooks, I think we touched on this, history is coming out.
Exactly.
So all of a sudden, South Africa has just been here. We are the founders. We need to embrace that we were colonized, whether we like it or not.
We were,
And that's what makes us, it was bad, but in a way, that's what makes us so diverse.
Exactly.
In so many ways. And we need to, political classes need to come back, because that doesn't take place, so there's so much we can talk to. Maybe the activist side of me is coming out. Do you know, Luvan, in your view, what responsibilities come with the freedom young people enjoy today? The responsibility. I'm walking out on Florida Road. I'm just blowing some guai, some what you say? We call it dacha. What they call it?
Marijuana,
cannabis,
weeds,
marijuana. Yeah. You got fancy names because you're
plenty names.
Yeah, plenty names, and just blow it. Michelle's walking past, and you'll just blow it on her face.
And they can just do it because.
And then you can turn around and say, "Look at that." Catfish or something. I mean, I'm trying, Jamie. I'm trying over here. No, but that's the harsh reality. That's the reality. So sometimes with freedom, there's no responsibility.
Exactly.
Well, just now you mentioned the elections coming up, and I think that's one of the biggest things that we as a youth need to focus on. A lot of people weren't able to vote, and now we have all these political parties in front of us, and I think it's up to us to do the research and find out which parties are actually for us, that are actually for the youth, that are looking to make a difference. So I think it's very important to take this freedom that you have, take the wealth of information that is out there on the internet, that is at your fingertips, do the research and find out which political party best aligns with what you want to see for your country. And I think in terms of responsibility, just now you mentioned, recreational use of drugs. I think that everything's good in moderation. I'm always someone that will say something like that, but there's a certain level of respect that you need to have for your elders. They went through things that we can't even begin to imagine. I'd hate to have gone through half of the things they've gone through. And I think that we should really treat our elders with respect, because they've come from these difficult struggles, and I can't imagine it's easy on them seeing the youth taking everything that we have for granted. So I think we should really be grateful that we even have this little bit of freedom that we do have, and not abuse it.
When you think about it, we are so blessed with so many things, because like compared to other countries, we can pray in the religion we want to. We can dress the way we want to. We like when you look at places like the UK, other parts of Europe, which are so modern with tech, they on another level on everything. But that empathy and humanity, where someone's walking on the street, a lady with a scarf, you're pulling it off. Someone who is not like you, same as you. Do you know, I was watching a comedian, I don't know what they call it, the lady with a sari or something from Melbourne. And she was saying like, she was doing a video while she was walking on the streets. And she's like really modernized, but she's wearing a sari. And the look she's getting, and she even mentioned when she went into a shop, someone tried to even pull her and told her, go back to your country. And she's thinking to myself, like, I came here to better myself, but she's not even born from India. She's like a second or third generation. And it makes you think, so we are blessed.
We are.
We are in that way there, Michelle, how different is, Jamie, we're going back to us now. How different is the experience of freedom for you today compared to previous generations to us?
Oh, totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Besides climbing the trees, playing outside, making mud pies, only coming inside the house when we are hungry or to use the toilet. Parents felt so safe if you played even till dark.
Yeah, they would actually tell us, go outside.
One auntie on that street tensioned all the children. No one had a problem.
Yes. Yes. And if there was a problem in one household, everybody came out to help. So it's totally different. The way we were raised is totally different now. With my experience working with the youth, freedom now is defined as I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. Freedom for us when we were little was carefree. Freedom to play, freedom to be a child, But at the same time, I also feel a bit sorry for the youth, because the responsibility that sits on them is far more greater than what it was on us as well.
Do you know, when you think about it, we had majority households, regardless of your race or culture, one parent working, but we still ate well.
That's true.
We still had that Sunday big lunch, or that Saturday lunch with family. You had everything. Now with two incomes, it's still not enough.
It's hard. Funny you're saying that, because we were actually laughing the other day. We said, when we went to our grandparents' houses, they were on pension, but they always had food.
No.
And they would feed all of us.
And there was no invite.
There was no invite. We would just rock up there and you go to Granny's house, and, you can eat. And they will cook these big meals. And how did they do it? And they fed all of us. Exactly. Now you can't. You can't do that now.
And also, but you also need to ask for an invite or be invited.
Exactly.
Even if someone is sick too. Zach's laughing. No, but that is the truth. Times have changed. So you don't know whether you, in staying in your boundaries or in your lane, or you showing no empathy. Should I go visit a sick person? But now that's what's happening,
100%. I don't usually ask questions and stuff, but can I ask Luvan and Jamie a question quickly? Because I actually love what Luvan said about, elections are coming up, and he says that the youth now need to look for a party that are for the youth.
It's so important for them to register to vote.
So I like that. So I was just thinking,
I'm so impressed you said that.
Because it's true.
That thought went through my mind.
And it's true. You need to elect a councillor that's going to help
how old are you?
The youth.
Just 24.
24. Wow.
Well, I told you he's my triplet. Same age as my twins.
Well, it's so nice when we are somebody who can see that leadership is so important. It's not about filling our coffers and
Yeah.
social media, but it's us really bringing
Exactly.
change. Bringing
So that's
change.
why I want to ask them, right? Luvan and Jamie, when Luvan said, we need to now look around and say, you know what party or, you know, is for the youth that's going to help us to build a better tomorrow. What qualities do you see or are you looking for in a party or a counselor for your community? Tell us.
We won't mention any parties' names.
Yeah. Don't name.
But if you got
We're
a
talking
party,
about
you got a party,
qualities.
or you're looking to be a future
Yeah.
counselor, you can
Qualities.
promote yourself.
Yeah. I'm asking for qualities. What qualities are you looking at in a
Leadership.
party?
In leadership.
Not names.
So first I want to emphasize, I love what Luvan said. We are in the age of information, so everything is out there. I don't feel that right now I am that educated on the specific parties and what is out there, but that's why I'm emphasizing. I love what Luvan said. I know a lot of the youth on, so go out there, research, look at the values that you have. How are you wanting that to align? For me personally, I think leadership is very important. I would personally look for someone who is really passionate about the people, someone who's passionate about the youth, about the elderly, someone who is actually wanting to take care of the people and looking to sort out the communities and bring people together, not necessarily someone who is interested in anything superficial like how a lot of leaders, unfortunately, up until now have proved to be. I always say that there's so many people out there in the world and so many people are so educated, especially amongst the youth. So I do feel that if they are not currently a party, that one day within the course of the future it will be. And I want to say that the youth can't keep going without taking charge of their futures. So I would 100% suggest that you go out there, research, and choose what you feel aligns best to the future that you are wanting to have, but also for our future kids, man.
Exactly.
What qualities are you looking for, Luvan?
Right now, just off the top of my head, I'm thinking about the extremely high youth unemployment rate. So I definitely look at a party that is aiming to amend the situation in some kind of way, whether it's providing incentives from businesses to hire more youth, if it's providing more opportunity, if it's providing more avenues for education or skills development. I think that's one of the main things I'd consider.
Okay, thanks for
Wow,
that.
you know, so everyone is listening out there. It's so important to educate your children, your young adults. If you are someone really young, when I mean like between the age of 15 to like 35, that they say it's a youth. I mean, you're youthful then. Well, we're also youthful too. But some people say it doesn't concern me. I'm not a politician. I shouldn't bother. No, it
concerns you.
It starts right now. I mean, let's be realistic. You had to go around a mountain of sand to get to the studio. And
100%.
apparently that's been there for weeks, I think even over a month or even more, longer.
Yeah.
So we can bring change starting with our youth movements, our youth groups, whether it's in a church, whether it's a mosque, whether it's in your youth group or whatever. Bettering your community, seeing to your community, and that's how leadership starts. You know, we can't wait for others to bring change. We need to be the change.
Yeah, we agree.
You know, in that way. But then again, lots of people say, it doesn't affect us, but they don't realize how important it is.
It does affect.
So for everyone who's over 18 to register
That's
and
step
vote.
number one.
It counts and to make the right decision. What you feel, not because someone's my friend. Or maybe, you know, I'll get some tender or something. But, you know, something where you want, as Jamie mentioned, what you would like to see change. Like unemployment is so big.
It's a big thing.
We never have these opportunities.
We didn't. And that's why it's important that the youth take advantage of them and, you know, they see them as opportunities. Because, like Jamie said now, right, the youth need to take charge for their own future. That is so important. And it starts, number one, looking at your country and making the right decisions for a better tomorrow.
Exactly. Luvan, what are some of the biggest challenges young people face in using their freedom positively?
Using their freedom positively. Wow. Oh, I could go on and on about the negative impacts of social media and all the different kinds of stuff that we see out there. All these TikTok trends that maybe are disrespectful, infringe on other people's sense of space or their comfort. I think social media really is one of those biggest ones. And so even when I look at like my little sister, she does some she has some really bad behaviors. And thinking back when my mom or when my grand would say, oh, it's the phone. Now when she exhibits these behaviors, all I can think is, wow, it's the phone. Like they were really right about that. I think changing up your social media to better influence you, following the right people that are educating you, that are teaching you a specific skill. Maybe it's to handle relationships better, to handle conflict better. I think that's the best kind of influence to have on you.
Yeah. We'll be taking a short ad break and we will definitely continue with Youth Frequency.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
Almost 1 in 5 South African children attend school each day without having eaten breakfast. This seriously affects their ability to concentrate and understand lessons. The Al Imdad Foundation's Make Breakfast Possible campaign allows learners to enjoy a high-energy cereal at the start of the school day. Help children to focus on learning and not hunger. Let's make breakfast possible today. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
لبيك اللهم لبيك.
Are you going for Hajj or Umrah? We at Al Ansar Shop have got you covered. From ihrams, ihram belts and kitabs, we're also stockist of Zamzam water from the wells of Mecca, dates from Medina, all at a ridiculously low price. Visit us at 207 West Road or call us on 031 208 1601. Al Ansar Shop, your one-stop Islamic shop.
Umrah this July school holidays with Show Mirage Travel. 14-night early bird special from the 1st to the 15th of July 2026 or 10-night super special from the 7th to the 18th of July 2026. Packages include return flights ex-Johannesburg on the world's #1 airline, Qatar Airways, Saudi visa, transfers, accommodation and guided ziyarats. Contact us for the super low prices. Limited seats are available. Call 031 208 4222. Show Mirage Travel, your trusted partner for a seamless Umrah journey.
Hey, youth of today, it's time to keep it real. Real talk, real issues, real youth. From mental health and peer pressure to faith, identity, and the power of social media. No topic is off limits. Join Sumaya Khan every Friday evening from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Radio Al Ansar for real talk where your voice matters. It's your space, your story, your platform.
If you wanna look amazing, lady, you know what you gotta do right now. Cover up your beauty for the Almighty. You do all this for your genius. Sacrifice is only temporary. You know what you gotta do right now. Your hijab is your crown, we all see, and you wear it to serve Ilahi. Hijab, pico, hijab, pico, hijab. Pico, you wear it for Allah. Hijab, pico, hijab, pico, hijab. Pico, you wear it for Allah. She's independent, this hijab is on deen. She knows what she wants, she is a queen. She don't follow trends in magazines. Quran and Sunnah is a daily routine. If you wanna look amazing, lady, you know what you gotta do right now. Cover up your beauty for the Almighty.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Youth Frequency. Yes, our topic this evening is freedom and responsibility, the role of youth in today's South Africa. In studio, we have Mami Bear Michelle, we have Jamie, and we have Luvan, we have Marlon, and we also have others who are definitely going to chat. We have a full house. Do you know, while we were off air, we were reading the messages on the screen, but one message just highlighted something which is so pertinent to the topic. We're talking about Freedom Day, the 27th, the importance of the day. We're talking about how the youth can make a difference. This message comes from Amina Ali. Assalamu alaikum. I trust that you and your listeners are well. What is your opinion regarding the suspects who are all youth and in their 20s who are accused of brutally murdering a family of 7 on the North Coast? What freedom do those victims really have now? Have a lovely evening. Take care. That makes you think. Yeah. So, imagine these are youth. One would think they possessed, you killed an entire family. And I think the daughter was 20 years old. They even raped her twice. And they carted their bodies to Ishawi, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I think with cases like that, it's always a very sensitive topic. And of course, with the answer, you want to do justice to the victims. But I think, so the first part of the question, if I'm not mistaken, asks about freedom of the suspects, and the second part asks for the victims. So I'd say for the suspects that are youth, maybe people wouldn't want to look at it from this perspective, but when someone's doing things to that extent, criminals, murderers, you look at stuff like that, you really have to be honest with yourself and understand that these people need rehabilitation and they need help. So I'd say freedom for that, as in people might look at them and say, oh, they deserve to do all these terrible things. But I feel that they have the freedom to be rehabilitated if it is something that can be helped. We must be honest that mental health in today's world is a very serious thing, and it's gotten to a point where it's very drastic. We don't always know what people are experiencing. So if it is a case where they can somewhat be helped and rehabilitated, then I think that is important. Of course, for the victims, hopefully there will be justice with regards to that, but it's very difficult to answer when also we don't know specifics,
Mm-hmm.
So I think in general help is just needed.
Apparently the youth who are involved, I think they're under 30, in the early 20s, and they killed an entire family. They murdered an entire family.
Yeah, that's a call for like help. They need help in some sort of way if they think that's okay.
And they basically stole stuff, and they even took the bodies in a vehicle all the way to Ishawi and dumped the bodies there.
That's brutal.
So,
That is
I mean,
brutal.
That's brutal.
exactly. And then you think about it, like, where's empathy?
Yeah,
These are young.
But the truth is, there's so many people in today's society walking around like that. The truth is, not everybody is doing it. So many people are walking around thinking of these things constantly, thinking about so much worse. Some people choose to do it. But again, it comes back to mental health. What are we as a society doing to help people with their mental health, especially people like that? Society is quick to persecute them, which of course is understandable. But if you're going to do that, it's just going to make it worse. You're not getting these people who actually need help, the help that is actually available for them.
Sorry, talking about
So Jamie talks a lot about rehabilitation. Rehabilitation and talking about everything after the fact. I want to point out before the fact. What are these kids doing before they become turned into these criminals that are killing, thieving? What are they experiencing?
Yeah.
There's a lack of education, there's a lack of opportunities, there's a lack of whatever it is to keep them busy. I know, and I've seen this within my community, a lot of people that don't have a sport or don't have a passion or something to dedicate their lives to, they end up going down this route, this dark route of drugs, of crime, of all this bad behavior. So we just spoke about electing municipalities. I think I just want to add to that and say, look at someone that is driving the sports function, that is giving the youth a place where they can develop themselves in some way.
Youth development.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
But, I know I read something about that not very long ago in India. The exact same thing happened. But again, it makes us sit and think, empathy, humanity, coldness.
I think it's something that is deep rooted, and that's why I'm saying we have to look at the mental health of a lot of people nowadays. And as Luvan says, it stems from somewhere. Not all of a sudden people's mental health is bad that they want to kill someone. Something must have had to happen. They are experiencing some sort of thing in their lives. It doesn't just start from nowhere. Those are very specific things. And if we can normalize, first of all, learning to be, as Luvan says, before it even gets there, naturally take care of our mental health, naturally learn these things like emotional intelligence. Emotional regulation is a big one that everybody should learn, especially children, and it's just not normalized.
Jamie, I'm going to put all your counterparts on the spot. In your opinion, are young people, Luvan and Jamie, doing enough to shape the future of South Africa? Do you think South Africans, the youth?
Yes and no. I'd say that they're not doing a good enough job in shaping it to what it can be and what we need it to be. People are constantly shaping their futures no matter what you're doing. The question is, what are you shaping it to? In the ad break, Luvan and I were saying that there's so much capability and so much potential just for our country, especially for the people. And I always push the youth to say, you do have a voice, use it. If you see something wrong happening, speak up, say it. You do have power. Like how I said earlier, the youth, we need to take accountability and ownership for our future. We are literally the working ones. You know, we're becoming the adults. We're going to be the parents one day. So you have a say now. It is in our hands. We just need to be smart. We need to educate ourselves, and we need to be able to put ourselves in a position to make the right decisions. And with all the information that's here, I think we have a good shot.
And with guys like you, Luvan and Jamie and Liam, who's at the Berg, I mean, you all are bringing change. You are being trendsetters. You know, we always ask this question, Luvan, do social media platforms help, harm how youth express their freedom of speech? We touched on that a bit.
Oh, a little bit of both. I was actually going to branch into a little bit of that. Earlier you mentioned that our country is very unique. There's a lot of things that we can do here that other countries can't do. I just really want to say that we actually have one of the best constitutions in the world that, you know, gives freedom of speech that allows everyone to be treated with respect. So we kind of grow up in an environment where this is really emphasized, and we are expected to treat everyone equally with love, with respect. Now, coming to social media, before I was as active as I was on social media, I'm not shy to admit that I wasn't as politically aware as I am now. So being exposed to other people's opinions on social media really helped enlighten me and give me a new perspective. And I think there's quite a positive side to this, because there's so much of awareness in the youth that I see. You know, when I was growing up, it was normal to mock someone for being homosexual or for the color of the skin, so on and so forth. And that won't fly today. It'll get posted on social media. You'll be outed. You'll be shamed. Get in trouble at school, at work, so on and so forth. So I think there's a very positive side to social media if it is used in the right way and not to spread hate.
We have a voice note.
Yeah, I like this topic because I was thinking about this the other day. And what I was thinking about particularly is the fact that I have been super blessed with choice. And I'd like to say that for a lot of the youth these days, and I know everybody's a gift of choice might not have as much options as the other, but back in the day, our parents had to settle a lot for a lot of particular things because of the resources that they lacked. And I'd like to say, being a youth now and having the gift of choice, having the gift of setting boundaries and letting people know when I'm not comfortable with something. And I also have the gift of choice to not be afraid to be able to start all over again. And I think that also goes for our mothers and our grands and their sisters. Much of them didn't really have much of a choice to try different jobs or do that degree. Most of them had to settle and go ahead and raise the family and be that stay-at-home mom. And I have been blessed and graced to be at the young age of 26, single, independent, and confident enough to voice my opinion, especially when it comes to my fears and the things that I like and the things that I don't like. And in most cases, I'm never ridiculed for it. And I think that's so important. And I think a lot of the youth don't realize the gift of choice that they have. And I suppose there are often times where some of us do realize the gift of choice that we have and don't use the responsibility correctly. And I think in this day and age that we're living in, I think it's time for us to be aware of the struggles and the issues that our grandpas, our great-grands and grandpas, their brothers, their sisters, our aunties and uncles, the sacrifices that they had to make in order for us to be where we are today, to have the gift of choice, to have the gift of starting all over again and not having to settle. And having the plethora of options that we have, especially in this world of information technology. In most cases, our parents, our grandparents didn't have a phone where they could just pick up and automatically Google something to get information. They'd have to go and speak to another person that knew about that thing, or go to a library, or even if they didn't have those resources, they just wouldn't know at all. So I think, we are blessed with choice and we are blessed with so many resources. And I think our responsibility is to make sure that we use the resources to help one another, especially the youth, because, things will eventually start getting a little bit crazy. And I think with this information era of technology, it causes a divide, because now that we don't have your next door neighbor or the library to go to speak about the connection and learn those new things with other people, we don't have to start a conversation to learn something new. We could just easily use our phones. So I think our responsibility is to share and spread news and spread community and spread love. And I think that's our responsibility as a youth. I think I might have repeated myself too many times, but I think those are the most important, key, responsible things, As much as we have been blessed with all this choice, it's time for us to use that choice to better everybody else. Because we could do so many fun, cool things in special ways and in a lot more easier ways than our parents could do and our grandparents could do before. So, I think.
Well, she's speaking from the heart. From the heart.
That's Nicole.
Yeah.
Councillor Chantal de Boer's daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes.
So that's her daughter, Nicole.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Well, we got some apples over here too.
Yes.
Well, it's so true. Children are sponges.
Mm-hmm.
When you're growing, you can, plant those little seeds and let them start thinking and watering it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what she's saying, she's speaking from her heart.
Yeah.
She's so true what she's saying. I mean, there was no Google. There was just a telephone. There was no we communicated.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what are we doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just want to add, there's been so many times where I've responded to someone's story or status and tried to start a conversation with them, ask them about this thing that they posted, and they're like, oh no, just Google it. I don't want to Google it. I want to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with Nicole on that point.
That's y'all's counterparts today.
Counterparts.
Exactly. Like I told my daughter, I said, stop asking me. She was asking me where our president lives. So I told her, Fatima Zara, you're always on YouTube. You're watching all these slime things and stuff. Why don't you Google where the president lives? Like, really, can't you just tell me? I said, no, go and Google. But that's how, what is it? That's the trend, the culture of today.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We won't research, but we use social media for pleasure, for relaxation, for...
Yeah, I think it's just instant gratification, that quick dopamine spike. And that's just what it's used for today, unfortunately.
Exactly. Michelle, how important is education in empowering the youth to use their freedom wisely?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think that could be where the gap is.
Yeah.
Are we talking enough about what freedom actually means? Freedom's not just, I'm going to do what I want to do whenever I want to do it. even our organization, our non-profit Tutsa, they will tell you one of our values is freedom. When we go into the schools, we actually teaching the kids. Freedom is not just doing your own thing. Freedom means you have freedom to choose what to study. You have freedom to express yourself in a respectful manner. You have the freedom to say no when you're uncomfortable with something. You have a freedom to education. You have a freedom to also purchase a house one day. You know, all those things. You have freedom to go to whichever beach you want to go to.
Yeah.
You know, you can date who you want to. You can marry who you want to. And that is where true power is sitting. Being able to be you and have the desires of your heart. But freedom is not, I can go and I can purchase drugs wherever I want to and smoke it wherever I want to. So yes, freedom is very, very, very important, and education plays a vital role in that. If we could have more talks on what freedom actually is at schools, it's going to assist. If we could hold more workshops, it's going to assist.
That's so true. You know, we have to teach the young leaders what we could not do, and we're not saying live it through them, but they can be the future change. You know, Luvan, if you could give one message to young people about freedom and responsibility, what would it be, other than making your bed and keeping your shoes away and putting the milk back in the fridge and wiping all those breadcrumbs on the counter?
All the breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
I'll keep it short and simple. Use it wisely. Appreciate it. That's it.
Short and simple.
Yeah.
Short and simple. Very short and simple, huh? But you still got to do all the other stuff.
Absolutely. Do your research. Make sure you know what you're doing.
Jamie, in what ways can young people hold leaders accountable and make their voices heard in a democratic society they want, you know? Yeah.
Well, first of all, pay attention. There's so much going on in the world, and I think because it is of the nature that it is, it's easier for people, especially the youth, to maybe not want to be educated on it, or to push it aside, or to rather focus on something else. So first of all, I'd say pay attention. Pay attention to what is happening in the world. Pay attention to what is happening around you. Earlier, you mentioned some people don't want to get involved in it because they don't think they're a politician. We live in this country. You might not think you're affected by the laws that govern the country, but you are 100% affected by it. So I'd say stay aware, but also stay educated. Research about the leaders. Get to know about them, not just what they're saying, you know, at that point in time, but maybe research them a little longer. I think especially in government, someone who hasn't been known doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. So I think there will always be some sort of information. And I think stay true to yourself. It's difficult to choose which leader's the greatest, or which leader's best and can lead us if you yourself don't know your values and you don't know what's important for you. So what is important for you? As I said earlier, what future do you want to see?
Exactly. So it's so important, you right there who's listening. And if you are youthful and a youth, to study communism, socialism, Marxism, capitalism, know the difference. I mean, the youth don't know that. Yeah. We're not saying that everyone needs to be academics, but
you're giving me some ideas.
Giving you some ideas, Michelle, do you believe the youth of today are the future leaders of South Africa, and what needs to change to better prepare them for the role? I just put you on the stage now, you know, like one of your talks.
We have programs where we are now developing youth from grade R right up until matric, and then right up until 35. We need to start preparing our youth's minds, their hearts, their souls to be servant leaders of this country. Yeah. So with that, we are now partnering with schools, and we are opening that doorway for our children. Yeah. Exactly. So yes, they are 100% the leaders, not just of our country, but of our nation. So yes, we need to give the youth a voice. We need to open up these opportunities in the smartest, easiest, and fun way that we can. So we all can't do this by ourselves. So we're welcoming everybody to hold hands with us, and let's change our country together.
Quick one-liner. Jamie, Freedom Day, 27th. Message.
I like what Luvan said, use it wisely. You have freedom to do so much, but you also have the responsibility. So that's what I'll say.
She stole my line.
Sorry.
Yeah, enjoy your day, public holiday. Make the most out of it.
Enjoy.
Enjoy your freedom.
Enjoy your freedom.
Yeah, enjoy
Yeah.
your freedom.
Be free, but be kind to
We
yourself.
have a guest from Johannesburg. Marlon, your Freedom Day message. What would you like to say to everyone out there?
Freedom is a choice. Use it wisely.
Okay.
Everyone's stealing my lines.
One liner. But you know what, guys? Thank you so much. To everyone out there, at least you kind of know freedom and what is Freedom Day and what it's all about, and know the history of our country. Don't make everything political.
Yeah.
Know the history of your country. So as we wrap up today's discussion, one thing is clear: freedom is not just something we celebrate, but something we must protect, repeat, and use wisely. In a country like South Africa, where so many fought for the rights we enjoy today, freedom carries responsibility, especially for the youth. Young people are not just the leaders of tomorrow, they are the change makers of today. So through their voices, choices, and actions, they have the power to shape communities, challenge injustice, and build a more equal society. But with that power comes the duty to stay informed, as we said, stay involved, and stay committed to positive change. As we remember the significance of Freedom Day, let it not only be a moment of reflection, but a call to action, to lead and to use their freedom to uplift not only themselves, but the nation as a whole. So until next time, keep the conversation going, because your voice matters. As you always say, Jamie, peace out.
Yeah, peace out.
Assalamu alaikum.
The views and opinions expressed by the guest and presenters of Radio Al Ansar are not necessarily the views and